There was the Bickley blast from Monday. Talking about coming out of the gate strong.
Talk about stirring it up, huh?
Stirring
How
it
about
up.
a hornet's nest that I stirred up? Okay.
Right now, as I look at it,
Yeah.
177 views. I'm looking at the post on X.
Okay.
177,000
that's
views.
yeah, more like it.
I was going to say, that's not a lot. Wow.
90
That's
reposts.
sports kebab numbers.
152 comments. And 225 likes.
Many people telling me to go kill myself.
Yeah, don't do that.
I
think that for me that's rash.
One person is continuing to say that I'm reinforcing the traditional racism norms in Arizona by attacking the darker African American over the light-skinned African American. It's mind-boggling to me, the kind of hate that is out there when you give your honest to God's opinion. Now, I am going to amend what I said. Like I said earlier, the idea of I want to trade Devin Booker, I'm not sure I feel that in my heart. I was very, very frustrated coming out of that Toronto game. But as I said earlier, everything else about it, the idea that Devin Booker has, that Kevin Durant has, the arrival of Kevin, let me rephrase this. The arrival of Kevin Durant has had a negative impact on Devin Booker. I'm not stating it as fact. I'm stating it that Devin Booker has not been the same guy in the past 2 years. And my belief is, I believe it was April of 2024 after a bad loss to the Clippers when Devin Booker was asked about how the locker room is dealing with this horrible loss and all this frustration, and he said, chilling. I don't think Devin Booker would have said that if Kevin Durant hadn't come to the Phoenix Suns. That's what I mean when I say in my darkest moods, I fear that Kevin Durant's presence in Arizona has lessened Devin Booker. And I think could be a lot of reasons for that, but I'm also going to say this. I'm going to stand on that because I have talked to many people who cover the Suns, who've been around the Suns, who watch the Suns, and they all say the same things, but they say it very quietly.
Yeah, but you also had 7 years of proof of what Devin Booker was.
That's it. So, so KD clapped back at me because and people think I'm lashing out at KD. That's not the case. I'm wishing for Devin Booker to be what Donovan Mitchell is now, to be a first team starting all-star guard. Okay? So, and for me, the frustration once again is how do they get out of this? What's the plan? Where do you go from here?
Well, I mean, let's focus on the KD part of it.
Okay.
And just the reaction to some of the things that have happened on this radio station recently.
Mm-hmm.
Recently, Gambo in the afternoon said, you know what Kevin Durant can do? He can say, you know what? I'll show you. I'll take this team. I'll put them on my back. I'll carry you to the Western Conference Finals. I mean, there wasn't really anything critical about that. There wasn't anything really negative about that other than what had happened leading up to that point. Mm-hmm. And coming off of a very awkward trade deadline period for the Suns where they, in my opinion, mistakenly pursued a trade to get Kevin Durant out of town. They did that. Not you,
right.
Not me, not anybody, not Gambo, none of us.
Right.
He reacted negatively to that. Then reacting negatively to the blowing it up. You know, and this is on the heels of, it's basketball, it's a business, we get it.
Yeah.
If we're focusing on the business of basketball, this team has basically run out of time to prove to anybody that this fit is right.
Mm-hmm.
And we're dealing with the most expensive team in the history of the NBA in payroll numbers.
Thank you.
So is there an advocating for keeping it together? Running it back? What is the definition of insanity?
Trying the same things over and over and over again, and they fail every time.
And expecting different results.
Yep. There was fans giving them the benefit of the doubt and even saying, like, let's see how they react after the All-Star break.
I was one of those people.
And how has that been so far down the stretch so far?
Not good.
Not good. Yeah, but you're right. The idea now that, and this is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the Suns fan base and how out of control and cannibalistic elements of it has become. This whole deal yesterday is a perfect example of that, where people are accusing me of running Kevin Durant out of town. As you just pointed out, it was the Suns who tried to trade him. without telling Kevin Durant. That was them, not me.
And
that was them.
And that was a complete misstep.
Complete.
In this time, a complete misstep.
Yes, just like the trading away your 2031 first-round draft pick, complete misstep.
Yeah, but let's focus on the first misstep.
Yeah, yes.
What I think that did was we're talking about, and Jarrett just mentioned it, what does this look like after the All-Star break? And we've seen what it looks like after the All-Star break. It doesn't look much different than it did prior to the All-Star break. But I think the inclusion late in the process of the Suns dangling Kevin Durant and trying to engineer a trade to get Jimmy Butler here absolutely extinguished any chance this team had to turn things around after the All-Star break.
I agree with that.
And it might not even be a conscious decision.
I agree with that, too. Listen, I admired Kevin Durant for being as self-critical as he was coming out of the Toronto game where the Suns lost to another lottery team. I did not like the reaction coming out of the loss in San Antonio, where KD, where once again it was, hey, you know what? I felt so much love tonight. I'm not going to let the results of this game sully anything of that experience. And then mentioning that, Chris Paul was trying all those tricks and the mind tricks. He'd do anything to win. That should be you, KD. That's what we're talking about here. We're talking about where is the passion and the fire to win basketball games.
But he hasn't been that guy for the last year and a half. Ever since the Denver series with him and Book, when they were the two best players on the floor aside from Jokic, ever since that series, he hasn't been remotely close to that.
Well, and that's, I think, a pretty good place to start, Sammy, is you look at that series, and it was being cobbled together. I mean, Kevin Durant comes over in the trade, then he immediately gets hurt in the warm-ups, and you get 8 games. And when you had Kevin Durant and Devin Booker on the floor, I think they won all 8 of those regular season games. They were very competitive in the Denver series. Denver goes on to win a championship without much heavy lifting after that Denver series, the series against the Suns.
Yeah, you'd say we were the second best team that year.
Yeah, and I don't know for a fact. I've heard things, but I don't know for a fact how fractured things were in that locker room with Monty Williams still as the coach, with DeAndre Ayton here, with Chris Paul here. I think there was a lot of individuals that were at their wits' end with something about that roster. And had they kept that together, we might be having a different conversation. I'm not blaming it on Bradley Beal either. I was in favor of that trade because I thought Chris Paul had to be moved because of his contract situation and held up against his age.
I agreed with you. Here's the last thing that I would say about this. So in KD clapping back at me, which he has every right to do, he mentioned, is this the narrative we're running in Phoenix now? My question back to him would be, what narrative would you like us to be fixating on? Should the narrative be that we are all blessed to watch you play basketball, results don't matter? Is that the narrative? Is the narrative that we should be content with the basketball team that doesn't seem to bring requisite passion to the game? Is that what we should be?
And never once have you said this is a Kevin Durant issue.
No.
This is a team-wide misstep.
Kevin Durant's been fantastic at being Kevin Durant.
Yes. We just talked about his shooting numbers this year. They're phenomenal. His scoring numbers, phenomenal. You're surprised when he misses a shot. I thought he was too hard on himself after the Toronto game when he said, I was 5 for 15. If I come out and go 12 for 15, that's asking a lot.
That is
even for the great shooters of the game.
Yeah.
To go 12 for 15.
All that being said, the team is significantly worse than they were last year.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
And these are facts.
So again, the narrative, I'm not sure what he's looking for.
Thanks for watching Bickley and Marotta. Click to see the latest Bickley Blast and hit the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.